Hi guys, this is Chelsea Cleaver and I will be showing you around my behind the scenes Moodle shell. So up first we have our kind of get to know all the important information that the forms we need. So the first thing that we have is the announcements. This class is for 7th graders, so right now the announcements, we don't really have any because of the coronavirus. We're all away from school. So I will use this for our morning announcements. So one of our announcements we have is our virtual field day and our talent show that's coming up on May 11th and May 13th. So students can come look here for their announcements that we'll be having. Also, what I have under announcements is the question section or ask the instructor. And so this forum is for any questions students may have. They can, about any assignments and whatnot, they can post it here so that if others have the same question, they could come up and look and hopefully clear up some questions. So some documents that we have the behind the scenes parent guide that comes straight from the Department of Education. We also have the syllabus, our policies and procedures, and some due dates that we may have. So from looking at the parent guide, this is just kind of all about behind the scenes, what we will be doing is really reading nonfiction texts about the Civil War, and examining different periods and perspectives through different accounts, or different personal accounts. So these are the topics we'll be talking about, and the task. Our main task that we will be talking about this Moodle this time is the culminating writing task, which they will be reading Elizabeth Keckley's memoir, and they're going to be asked a question. Now, to clarify this is our end of unit goal. So throughout the unit, we will be working towards this task. So we won't be doing this extension task because we will not have time to complete it, but this culminating writing task is what we're really going to be geared towards. These are the different texts that we will be reading. If students want to discuss at home, these are some questions parents can go to kind of get their child to discuss. Some extra books, if parents want, are right here. And kind of some suggestions on how to help students read at home and what does that look like. Moving forward, we're going to move next into the syllabus. So for the syllabus, we kind of have about this course, about how it's really this behind the scenes unit is the goal is to build knowledge, to build students' knowledge to read and comprehend complex text. Students are going to be reading complex text from Frederick Douglass, Elizabeth Keckley, and to really break it down and understand the depth of it. The assessments, what I want to go over real quick is kind of this culminating writing task again that I talked about. This is going to be our big summative grade for this quarter. And all of these others, so starting from week 2 all the way to 9, all of these are going to be formative opportunities, which means that we're going to be talking about claims on slavery. So I'm going to pick this up for a grade to kind of checkpoint for this culminating writing task, because they're going to need to know about claims and so forth. So all of this is going to be built upon for students to be successful in this culminating writing task. So we won't have true multiple choice tests or different other tests that you might see in other courses, where it will be more of either a discussion or through an essay or through a project. So do know that is what is coming up. Our grading scale is a 10-point grading scale. The course goals. One goal that I really want to focus on is that students will be able to understand how the author develops and supports her experiences and how they support her position on slavery. We're really going to be looking at develops and supports, because that is one big part of that culminating writing task. So do know that this is one thing we're going to be looking at a lot and talking about. The course calendar is going to be posted separately on the Moodle page in case students want to download that separately and print it out. So expectations. Students are to log on to Moodle, check their email weekly. in case they have important updates on there. They are to complete all assignments and tasks before the deadline is on the course calendar, and they are to exhibit a positive a positive attitude towards learning. Um, in addition, for disability statement, since this is seventh grade, we are still working with IEPs, which is an individual exceptionality plan. So if a student has that, the teacher, I will have already received their IEP. I will review it and then accommodate as the IEP says, since it is a legal document. And I will accommodate that student based off of that IEP. Moving on to the contact information. If you need to email me, please email me from below with using my email. And if you would like to do a virtual meeting, you can do a virtual meeting through Google Meet. And this must be requested so I can set up an appointment. Moving on to policies and procedures. So these are just some general policies and procedures that I have. One that I really want to focus on is the course requirements, is that this is a seventh grade online course, which is very different from a college course because students' minds have not developed like college students. So I really want to point out that work must be completed in a timely manner that is stated in the class schedule. If something is posted in February, I should not be getting it in April. Points will be taken off for late work, and exceptions can be made if the student communicates with the teachers before. It is a student's responsibility to complete all work and show adequate work. I'm saying student's responsibility because I know parents will help, and that is fine for parents to help. But I do want the student to do the work and not this parent to do all of the work. And cheating on assignments will result in an F or expulsion. And I have a quick little introduction video. Hopefully it loads this time. And here is the video.
Hey guys, I am Miss Cleaver. I will be your instructor for this behind the scenes unit. Some little things about me before we get started with the course is I am my first year teaching of 7th grade middle school. I've been teaching for 3 years, previously elementary. So like you all, you're learning this stuff. I'm learning this fun stuff too. I teach at Harry Hurst Middle School, the best middle school in the state. And which is located in Destrehan, Louisiana, in St. Charles Parish. Some things I like is outdoors. As you can see, I'm outdoors. Kind of windy today, and I really enjoy sports. So if you have any questions, please email me. I know some of these features you can comment or message. That is also fine too for me. I'm excited about this behind the scenes unit because it's all about slavery and how one former free slave, Elizabeth Keckley, what were some struggles she had going through slavery when she was younger, but also after when she was free. So we're going to learn about that. I can't wait to work with all of you this unit. Thank you.
So this video is just for students because this is 7th grade and they are more visual learners and they do like to know more of who you are and kind of what's your attitude and stuff. So that's why I did a video instead of a written response, so students kind of really see my little irks and quirks and whatnot, just through a small quick video. So moving forward, getting to know the culminating writing task. This is first because I want students to know what they are working towards and what is that end goal. So real quick, the culminating writing task is, the directions are in the preface to her memoir Behind the Scenes, or 30 Years a Slave and 4 Years in the White House, Elizabeth Keckley discusses 2 topics, slavery and Mrs. Lincoln. What is Keckley's position on slavery? What is her position on Mrs. Lincoln? How does she develop and support her position on each topic? So this is what they're going to be working towards at the end goal. So what students are expected to do this week is this week they will read the directions to the culminating writing task. And I have a little synopsis kind of about what it is. And so what they're going to do is read the directions and describe what the directions are stating. And this will help the students identify different aspects of the culminating writing task. This will help them create a look for in their mind of as they're working towards or reading different things, they're going to kind of know in their brain, like, oh, this might help me for this. I should write this down, or kind of really create a look for in their mind. So once you have described what the directions are stating, they are to respond to a classmate's original post. And I have a forum here for them that just kind of restates it, and so they can have it ready to go. Moving on to Module 1. This module, students will read the preface from Behind the Scenes by Elizabeth Keckley. And in this module, they will familiarize themselves with the anchor text of the unit by identifying the narrator and her topic. I have the culminating writing task directions here again, so they can know that their first part, they're looking at that slavery piece. So I posted the directions again. I'm not going to open it because you saw it already. This is the preface. This is the text. They can either download it, print it out, and read it, annotate as they would like. And so from here, they are going to read the preface, and they're looking at claims on slavery. So from here, I already have a few claims on slavery because that's the first part of the culminating writing task. So a claim that they might have is right here, and they're going to describe of how it is expressed. So I already gave an example. I have a claim for them. Tell me how it is expressed, and then they are to find 2 other claims and describe how it is being expressed. Once they are done with that, they are to submit it right here under the assignments, and they are to turn it in right here. Moving on to Module 2. In this module, students will write a piece of argumentative writing comparing and contrasting the 2 texts. They will also examine statements she makes about slavery and discuss tone. So I have the first 2 chapters. So chapter 1 is her former life as a slave. I have it attached right here. And I also have chapter 3, which is her gaining her freedom. So students are to download, print these 2 texts if they would like, read them. And then what they're going to do is they're going to write an essay. And I also posted the rubric that I will be using to grade them, so they can also grade themselves on here. Their essay. So this light versus dark argumentative essay is in her first 2 chapters. She refers to different aspects of slavery as either light or dark. And so they are to write an argumentative essay describing the claims about either the light and the dark. And their essay should have at least 4 paragraphs, and they are to utilize the rubric for guidance. Once they have posted their response, they are to respond to another classmate's post. Moving on to Module 3. Students will compare and contrast Keckley and Douglas's personal accounts of being enslaved. So real quick, I have this culminating writing task checkpoint. And what this is this is kind of the middle, almost the middle of the culminating writing task that we're almost there. So students are going to fill this out so that kind of as a formative opportunity so that I can know how they're doing. So they're going to describe what is her position on slavery, what text they got it from, either the preface, chapter 1, chapter 3, how did she develop her position, and how did she support it. So they are to fill out 3 of these slides. The reason why 3 is because 3 would give them enough for a body paragraph. So essentially, after they finish this out, they are done with their first body paragraph of their culminating writing task. Just so we can check it and we can kind of keep going. So if they stray away from the goal, I can pull them back in. So moving forward, I have chapter 11 of Frederick Douglass. This is his account of being enslaved. So students are to download, print this, which either one they would like, and read this text. They are to annotate it. I also, again, reposted chapter 1 from Elizabeth Keckley from module 2. And I also added these notes because these are some notes during discussion that my students have previously had. And I thought that these would be really good points for students to take while they are starting off their argumentative essay. So these can kind of help them going. Since this is 7th grade, they are going to need a little tool to kind of get going. So they can use this to start off with. And their assignments, this is where they turn it in. So students, so how their directions are, how are the writer's attitudes towards slavery similar or different? They can utilize any media they want, either an essay, a PowerPoint, a movie, anything that they would like. I'm fine with that. They just have to show me how their attitudes are similar and different. And they are to submit it right here. And also, I also have the CWT checkpoint where they can turn this in right here. So I can give them feedback in case for their culminating writing task. Moving on to module 4. In this module, students will learn how to use tone to help determine the author's purpose. I have chapters 5, 6, and 7. This is where Elizabeth Keckley works for Mrs. Lincoln in the White House, and where little Tad sadly passes away, and kind of when her and Mr. Lincoln is grieving for that. So they are to read this. From there, students are going to do a flip grid. So I'm going to first show you the flip grid and then move forward. We're using flip grid. They are going to have to sign in. My students, you're going to sign in with your SCP Google account. So we're going to sign on in. And here's the flip grid. Now from flip grid, I posed the directions. So students are going to watch this quick video. And here's the directions. So using chapters 5, 6, and 7, explain how Elizabeth Keckley views Mrs. Lincoln, provide evidence and reasoning. So here is.
Hey guys, today, this week's assignment, what you're going to do is you are going to finish reading chapters 5, 6, and 7 from behind the scenes. After you have read that, I want you to answer the question, how does Elizabeth Keckley feel about Mrs. Lincoln? So while you are reading, think about that question. Once you're done, I want you to respond to this video by videoing yourself. It's okay if you mess up. I just did. Then from there, you are going to publish it. After you publish it, go and look at other people's videos and respond to theirs, either back through video or by commenting on it. This way we can discuss with one another. If you have any questions, please email me. Thank you. Can't wait to see your videos.
So they can view this, and they are going to click, if they want to do a video, they can click this plus and video themselves doing that. And from there, you see how it says 0 applies? After they respond, people can reply back with a video. I find a lot of students rather videos, to kind of do a discussion because it's kind of like an impersonal thing. So that's why I decided to do that. So they can respond on here. And if they don't want to respond using video, they can come back and use this complete flip grid. So once they're done, they can say, I have posted the flip grid. And if they want to respond to someone, they can respond to here through text, or if they want to respond through video, they could do it on Flipgrid. Moving on to module 5. In this module, you will examine how the writer's purpose was supported by their language choices. So again, I have chapters 5, 6, and 7 and chapter 11. And chapter 11 is really whenever President Lincoln is assassinated, and really when Mrs. Lincoln really needs Elizabeth Keckley, so students are going to read this. After they have read this, I have posted again the rubric. They are going to describe the author's purpose of this text. So They're going to write an essay that describes the author's purpose of chapters 5, 6, 7, and 11. They are to use evidence from the text to support their claim with reasoning and make sure to use the conventions of grammar. Moving on to Module 6. Students are going to examine the changing relationship between the author and Mrs. Lincoln. So in Chapter 12, Mrs. Lincoln is really, she's kind of losing it, poor baby. And so she's really dependent on Elizabeth Keckley. So Mrs. Keckley's viewpoint on Miss Lincoln changed from her initial viewpoint. So students are going to, that's their kind of look for. And once they're done, they're going to use Flipgrid again. Now this Flipgrid assignments, this is kind of their body paragraph. So they're going to have to log in with Google again. And as you can see, I already logged in, so it already saved my account. And so they're the same thing. So after reading about the deaths of Mrs. Lincoln's family members, how does Elizabeth Keckley view Mrs. Lincoln? Did her view change from when she first started working at the White House? Provide evidence in your video to help prove your answers. So here is my quick
Hey guys, for this assignment, you are going to read Chapter 12, and you're going to respond to this question, which is, how does Keckley view Mrs. Lincoln? Now I want you to, if you need, go back to Chapter 5 and see how does originally Elizabeth Keckley feel about Mrs. Lincoln, and then look back at Chapter 12 and see, did her viewpoint change on Miss Lincoln at all? And while you are responding to that question, make sure you're providing evidence to show how it did change or if it did. This will also help you for your culminating your writing task, so make sure you give good evidence. All right, cannot wait to see your responses.
So students can respond right here and reply. And if they do not want to reply with video, they can reply on the forum. And this is the rubric. This is the same rubric. I know I did not show you the first time, but this is what the rubric looks like. So it's out of 15 points. The content is really their answer, so if their answer is correct, they need to provide evidence from the text. They need to respond with some reasoning of how their evidence supports the answer. Their volume, is their volume, are they speaking clearly? Are there any eruptions? Are they speaking too fast, too slow, whatnot? And they need to respond to appear. So this is their rubric. Moving on to Module 7. In this module, you will just demonstrate your understanding of the novel by analyzing a writing prompt. So right here is where they write their first draft. So what I did is I posted our class brainstorm, as you can see. And so what we did is we took the prompt and we brainstormed it. So as you can see, Keckley, she's our main point. And we know that we need at least 2 body paragraphs. So we need one on slavery, one on Miss Lincoln. We need to know about what is her position. And so from now, we can tell about what is her position on slavery. We're going to put that. And then we need to know about Mrs. Lincoln. What is her position? Same thing. We need to have that. Now we need to know about how does she develop. So make sure how did she feel about slavery and Mrs. Lincoln from the beginning, middle, and end. I wanted to post this so that students can have a visual and kind of can have a checkpoint for this. Because this is 7th grade. Because if this was in class, I would have done this together with them. So even though we can't physically do it together, I still wanted them to have this. So students are going to use this and then turn in their draft, which is right here. So all you have to do is answer the prompt and then submit it. And our last one, Module 8. Module 8, they are editing their draft, and they're going to use an editing checklist and correct spelling, mechanics, and grammar errors. And they will create a final version of their essay. So I have the directions here again, and I also have this checklist, which kind of is the whole entire essay checklist. So they have an introduction, they have a thesis, they have an introduction to paragraph, reasoning, evidence, conclusion, introduction, reasoning, evidence, transition words, capitals, correct sentence structure, and punctuation. This is kind of just an overall checklist for them, so they can check their draft, and then they come and they turn it in. So this is my class Moodle shell for behind the scenes unit. All right, thank you.